Welcome to Toffee TV. Let's talk about the season so far. 7 games, 4 victories, 2 draws and 1 defeat. I thought Rafa Benitez was going to be sacked by now.
So did some people. So did some people. You forgot a penalty shootout defeat as well.
I didn't.
Just you omitted.
I didn't forget about
it. Yeah, been all right. Been good.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, you said you set me up with. I thought he'd be sacked by now. I didn't really.
I wanted some elaboration on the whole
thing. I didn't really
thing.
know where to go with it. No, do it. Listen, there was a few people who boldly predicted he wouldn't last 6 games as Everton manager. And we've had 8, so there you go. He's already ahead of
9.
Ahead of time. Have we? No. We've had 2 Carabao Cup, you're absolutely right. 1-1, 3-1. With an asterisk. Yeah, so it's been okay. I mean, he obviously could have been better.
Yeah.
You know, we could have. We almost won at United.
Mm-hmm.
I think we probably should have won at Leeds. But then you temper that with we had a great 9 minutes against Burnley and things like that, you know. So, but it's been a good, solid start, I think, by the manager. Definitely.
What have you made of the style of play? Because a lot of people in the summer when we got Rafa Benitez were of the mindset of it's not the fella. I don't mind the fella. It's got nothing to do with the links to Liverpool. It's more to do with the way he plays football.
Just me.
Yeah. So what have you made of the style so far?
I've been very pleased with the way we've played. I think I've been pleasantly surprised. I was in that camp of the Liverpool thing that got over, had gone. Small club thing and all that, gone. You know, enough managers we've had have hurt us far more than that, and he's supposed to be on our side. So I wasn't bothered about that, but I was concerned, having watched the football Ancelotti produced, which was horrific. You know, seeing Allardyce's footy and stuff like that, and I just wanted to be entertained a little bit. So it did worry me. There's no point me sitting here trying to pretend that I thought everything would be great, because I didn't. So it has been. Can we get better? Absolutely we can. You know, given I don't think we can play counter-attacking football all the time. But the kind of football I've seen Everton play has been front foot at times, quick on the break, lots of crosses and shots. It's just that's what we go to match for. I don't go to match to sit in my seat and watch 900 passes to go nowhere, which we saw like under Martinez or whatever. Can get boring at times. I want to see stuff where you're on the edge of your seat and you want to see goals, and we scored at least 2 goals in most. I think United was the first, you know, Villa as well. In a lot of games we scored at least 2 goals. And United we should have scored 2. So I think I've been pleasantly surprised by the way we've played. I think what he's done is he's looked at the squad, looked at the strengths, and kind of just gone, well, let's play to those strengths then and see what we can get out of it, and it's worked.
Yeah, I've enjoyed most of it so far. As you said, it's very much what as an Evertonian you expect to watch. You know, it's this idea of what Everton is, or what the school of science is, or you know, those kind of questions. It's hard sometimes for people to actually know what that means. I think what we're doing is we're getting the best out of a batch of players and getting the best out of our better players, even though they haven't played as much. Dominic Calvert-Lewin obviously with injury problems, and the same with Richarlison. We're getting the best, like you've just said, of what they do because of the style we're playing, and obviously the players we've added to the side. And I found it enjoyable. I think there's a you know, we've seen so far, we've come back. You know, against Southampton, we've come back against Burnley. You know, we those kind of, you know, getting beat against Manchester United. We've shown that there's a toughness about us. I think there's a genuine team spirit. I think he's building a team with players who fight for each other, which I think is again another really important Everton trait. fans identifying with players on the pitch, seeing that they're doing, they're working hard for the fans, doing all the hard work, doing all, getting back, the things that we just expect, I think, as fans, or a generation of fans expect to see. And I think, as I said, just that little bit of extra little bit of, I wouldn't quite call it flair, but just that little bit extra's got us through these games as well. Because it's been a decent set of fixtures. Let's get that right. It's been a good set of fixtures, but also the kind of fixtures that, if you don't take seriously and you don't plan properly, that you can be caught out with. Southampton open day of the season, going behind 1-0, going into half time, thinking, oh God, here we go. Then coming out and using your class and putting them to bed. Sort of the same with Burnley, and it was only for like a real 10-minute spell. But after the 10 minutes, we controlled the game then, and we put it to bed, and we controlled it. Norwich was just a difficult fixture because the way they put men behind the ball, and obviously, Villa 3-0 down, but really, again, it was the flip side of the Burnley game, and if Damari Gray gets that foul, then who knows how different that game could be.
Damari Gray scores at 0-0. Shaves the post 30 seconds later, you're 1-0 down. So
Leeds probably should have got three points out of that. So it's I think so far, certainly, as I said, the style I've been pleasantly, I wouldn't say surprised. I think Rafa Benitez is the kind of manager who'll come in, identify what he needs to do with the players he's got, and build off that. And I think that's what he has done. And plus, coming in at the beginning of the season, clean slate, having enough time in the summer, knowing that he's got some good footballers there, and being able to adapt that and change it round, and so far it's been really, really pleasing. And as I say, I don't think you can say he's done too much wrong so far.
No, and they're playing with the pace, getting the pace into the squad, in the summer. I think, particularly Andros Townsend, I think a lot of Evertonians, would have been scratching their head a little bit, because you were looking at, there was a lot of, even though we knew it was nonsense, there was a lot of rumours about spending this money and that money and going after this player and that player. But Andros Townsend came in on a free, and people were like, what? And then Damari Gray for 1.6 million, I think if Damari Gray had cost 15 million, people would have been happier, kind of thing. But he come in for that price, and it's like, well, why are we getting them so cheap then? He must be rubbish and everything else. And they've come in and made a huge impact. I mean, Andros Townsend's got 5 goals already and 4 assists or something. He's made a huge impact. Damari Gray's been fabulous, pace, good control, goes by people like they're not there. Just Evertonians love that. Love people who get you on the edge of your seat. And when we're on the counter-attack now, where last season we'd break and slow the game down, turn and knock it back and let teams set. Now, when we pinch the ball, you automatically lean forward. You're thinking, we're on and we're away. I think that's been a real plus this season and a real key change.
Yeah, because I think as well, just on that, I don't think that's a case of just 2 players coming in and making a difference. I think the way the team now is set up, there is a difference. And obviously, those 2 in conjunction with whoever else is with them, whether it be Richarlison, Anthony Gordon in the last game, Alex Iwobi. You're right, there's a real emphasis on breaking forward, not putting your foot on it and stopping and turning and having a look round and allowing the opposition to get back. There has been a real... Because there has been a real change of personnel in there. Players maybe in the number 10 position who'll slow us down. You can see the difference with what that pace brings to you. If you have Dom up front, you've got an extra bit. But even with we're picking up points even with Rondon in the side because of those 3 players and giving that extra bit. And then obviously, I think the added to that is obviously the midfield as well. You've got Allen and Decore playing. Last season they sowed the seeds, but they were both still they were both still conservative in the way they played. The Corey had to cover a lot of the ground of James Rodriguez, and Alan was just playing as the sitting role. And it don't get me wrong, it worked, but only in
Left away from home.
Only so far did it work. Whereas so far this season, those two players have become, where other teams might have 3-man midfields, those two have took over with just two. And Decore's ability to get around the pitch and Alan's ability to see what's happening in front of him and use his experience to pinch the ball, those two as well have just give us that platform to build off, nick the ball in the middle of the park and then get away with the counter-attack. And I think that obviously, I don't think anyone's understating it, because I think we've seen what the real Decore looks like so far this season, and that again is just a massive bonus to what we've had so far.
The goal at Old Trafford was a thing of absolute beauty. Springing off the United corner, we clear it and Gray's out first, and then he wins the second ball and he's away, and it's Decore. That doesn't happen last year. Decore doesn't go. So if Gray pinches it, who's coming through? He's then got to go and do it on his own. And he maybe gets shuffled into the corner and tries to get something where, because Decore has been told by Benitez to break forward, go and support, he's ready. And he does ever so well to turn back and play the ball, and Townsend steaming through and we score. And that was something that we just didn't do last year. And we didn't have that pace either, don't forget, although Ritchie is quite quick. But it's been key, really, what he's done with those two midfielders. He's got them pushing forward as well. Almost like midfielders used to be, which was you do all the jobs. You're up and down. You're not just stuck, anchored to one place. You go and join in and you're outnumbering, you're working, you're harrying. I think by doing that, you've got Townsend doing it, Gray's coming and nicking things. We saw Anthony Gordon, you just mentioned, give probably comfortably his best performance in an Everton shirt at Old Trafford, which is a difficult place to do it, in terms of discipline and everything else. So he's been key at being able to do that, and I think that's been a big thing. And you mentioned, you kind of touched on it before, is that we've done half of these games without probably our best two players, which is Dom and Ritchie. Yeah,
but also, I mean, I think you look at the defensive units as well that we've put out so far. We've barely been able to put out the same back four. And I think that's definitely something which we defensively we've looked okay, not brilliant. Again, it's funny because it is Mina and Keane again, the partnership that are probably our best, because we all want Godfrey and Mina to work because it's the pace and it's but it is so far probably been Mina and Keane, because certainly with the right back position, Ben Godfrey, does he naturally suit it? I don't think he does. And we need, obviously, Seamus back, but obviously we need a good young solid right back. Well, more than that, actually, someone who can get up and down and open the game up. We didn't have Pickford as well for the game. A couple of games, and we've seen that at Villa. The difference he would have made. So it's not been without its problems as well. Dom, Richarlison, Pickford, Seamus Coleman, Mina missed games at the beginning of the season. Luca Dean's had a little problem, and as we speak now, he's got another problem, and we don't know. You don't know what's going to happen with him, but it's such a small squad as well. You look at the bench some weeks.
Even the likes of a Iwobi has been out, and Gomez. You're looking at, and you're right. You're looking at that bench, and when you're losing those players as well, you're losing options off the bench. The manager's talked about it's not just having your full 11 fit. You want everybody fit so you can relieve the pressure on the 11 who've played. Rondon's come in, and as much as Gray and Townsend have been massive hits, he hasn't at the moment. But and I've seen a lot of criticism for him. But at the end of the day, the lad was brought in to be sub. He was brought in probably with the idea that come November, December, he's fully fit. We can start pulling Dom out or taking Dom off with half an hour to go or whatever and giving him a breather. He's had to play to get fit.
Yeah.
You know, when he hadn't played for 5 months, so he has looked short. There's no question about it, but he's got on with it. Probably, you know, he's probably got more effective each game.
Yeah.
Without really looking sharp. I don't think he looks sharp yet, but against United, at least he was knocking people about a little bit for the 90 minutes this time. So we've done all that with a lot of injuries as well, and I think that's the credit that not only the manager deserves, but the coaching staff and the players as well. But it hasn't been perfect.
No, I think the next, you know, as we move on from this now coming through the international break and as it starts up again, you know, it's important that we get those as many of those players back, obviously the first team players, so we can just get players back on the bench, and start to be able to mix it up a little bit when we need to, just so we're not stretching everyone too much, because it's great sitting here talking about your starting 11 or members of your starting 11, but you've just got to be careful that you don't stretch them too far, so that they either pick up injuries or they go out of form. So it'd be nice to have some of those players back. The likes of Seamus Coleman, so you have got an option of looking at Ben Godfrey and going, well, he can play centre-back or whatever. Because ultimately the squad, if anything holds us back this season, it will come down largely to that squad, the squad size, the depth. It's just not there. Anyone can see, like we said, you know, a couple of the games you've looked at the bench and gone, Jesus Christ, there's, you know, a mix of kids and...
Well, we've even lost Tom Davies for a couple of games, whether people like him or not. He's a squad player. Gabaman, we were all hoping, but this would be the season that he'd stay relatively fit and start establishing himself. He's done all the pre-season and played in games. He had an abscess and a slight strain. He's been sub against United, training again. He's back. So even people who you're having on the bench, you bolster your bench. Some games, you know, we shouldn't be having 2 goalies on the bench.
No.
You know, and United, or the game before, we ended up, you know, we've got United one, we had like Charlie Whittaker on the bench, Jared Brantwaite against Norwich, had played the night before, 94 minutes the night before, and sub. So it's great having the young lads on, and, you know, and what we've seen is Lewis Dobbin has actually got on a couple of games, which I think is a good thing. It's a great thing, really, to see academy kids coming through. But you want them on that bench because they're forced away.
Yeah, you want them there because they've done something, and you know they're going to be a difference. That's happened too many times, and we don't really want that to happen, but it shows the situation we were in. And I know sometimes people go, well, why didn't you just put so-and-so on the bench? Like, we've had occasions where we've only had 8 on the bench, and people say, well, why don't you just put so-and-so on the bench? And say, well, what's the point if they're not ready? We want kids to be ready. We want kids...
And that's the reward, isn't it, to get on that bench?
We want kids to be ready and to be forcing so that they are there saying, but to the manager, come on, put me on. You know, Lewis Dobbin might end up having, I don't know, half a dozen 5-minute appearances if he's lucky, if we get through games, and then he's saying to the manager every time the manager's looking. Same with Anthony Gordon. You know, Man United, I thought he took his opportunity to impress, and I thought tactically he looked, it was his best game. Forget about everything else you want him to do. Tactically, you want to lay that marker down to say to the manager, you can trust me if you put me on. I will do the hard running. I will stick to the game plan. I will do what you want me to do. And first and foremost, that's what, for me, certainly with a manager like Rafa Benitez, he wants that first and foremost. Do your job, and all the other things will come next. You'll build on top of that. So it's for the next one now. It is, whether it's Lewis Dobbin or whatever. It's up for that next one now to start understanding that, so that they can come off the bench. Because, listen, we can't rely on the Fabian Dells of the world. We can't rely on Gabamans of the world. And you've got to start. Hopefully there will be 2 or 3 from the pack, those young players who start going, I've got an opportunity here and I can take it. And the manager will give me a go. He's not afraid to put someone on.
If you Tyler on Yango, you know, you're 6'5" or 6'4", whatever he is. You know, you're looking at that and going, well, all right, there's Alan and Decorah who are in every week, but you know, there's a chance for me. Fabian Delph's never seen, you know. Tom Davies, you know, so he's got to get himself fit. He's coming back from an injury. But if you're him, you know, Ellis Sims was on the bench, and obviously the lad's picked up another injury, which is unfortunate for him. But you know, if Dobbin's got to be the carrot for everybody to look at and go, well, hang on, he's forced his way in, so can I? You know, and that's what we need. We want lads who are getting rewarded because they're doing the business. That's what I want on the bench. Because ideally we'd have 2 or 3 of them, but they're on merit, not there because we haven't got anyone else.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting now going forward, because obviously I think that squad depth is going to be the difference in some games. You know, you look at, as I said, the Villa game was a huge one. You looked at what they could bring on with an hour gone. And what I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't always work like that. We've seen that at Old Trafford. But you know, when you're playing the better sides with the players who are in and around you, if they can bring players off the bench, and you can't, essentially, you can't get those difference makers. And it's funny because when we played at Brighton, which I think probably, funny, I think Brighton might be tactically our best performance this season. Just the way that we went down there and we handled it, we soaked up the pressure, and then we broke.
And should have won 5 or 6.
Yeah,
in the end,
we
really.
could. You know
we
what?
missed some sitters.
You know, we there was opportunity.
And should have had them.
But I think the fact that on that day, which I thought was good, was I think Wobie was left out, but then he was brought on late on as a game changer, someone to. And I think people underestimate how important. It almost felt like on that day he'd held Wobie back for that reason, because you know, Wobie going into that game was done all right. So it was. You have to have a couple of players on your bench that you can hold back and say, listen, we all know there's going to be players like Tom Davies you're going to bring on, maybe, you know, if you want to bolster your midfield, but you want game changers you can bring on, you know, and I think that's going to be important going into those games, if you have them, but that comes from having that squad. We'll see what happens. We're coming into you know, a period now of a few games there we can still, you know, definitely get wins out of. Then there's another international break, and when we come back, we hit obviously that December period. There's a lot of tough games in that, and it'll be interesting to see where we are come those games.
We've got 2 home games now, haven't we? We've got 2 home games. We've got West Ham at home, which is a tough game, but it's a winnable game. Chance to put a marker down with them, put some distance between us, and then we've got Watford at home the week later. So, and that's another game I'd expect Everton to win. And again, a tough game because they have the likes of Sarri, who are quick on the break, and Ranieri's there now, so tactically and different things. But again, you're looking and going, well, beat them, you know. And then you're right, you start getting some tougher games then. But that's what it's about. Thing I've just done this season is just gone game by game and just gone. You know, we've got a game, playing West Ham this weekend. It's a home game, so I expect Everton to win, but I expect it'll be very, very difficult. But if the manager can, and we don't know yet, but if he can welcome back Richarlison and Dom, or one of those 2 even just on the bench, you know, maybe Seamus Coleman, and immediately that gives you 2 options off the bench then, doesn't it? And straight away it makes you feel better about yourself. I mean, West Ham, when they beat us at Goodison last year, you've just been talking about the bench. Their bench basically won them the game. Yeah. He come on, and it was Souček who got the winner in the end, but he brought Antonio on, he brought Lanzini, I think, and another come on, and he stretched us. And we were puffing and puffing, and they had that, because we'd had injuries.
Yeah, we didn't have that option.
We had no options, really. James come on, he hadn't played for weeks, so he was rusty, and they got the lucky break at the end and took the goal. So your bench is going to be vital now, but it's what we've got, and maybe we've had a period where we've been a little bit unlucky with injuries, and hopefully now we can kind of manage our way through to the window. And I expect Everton will bring 1 or 2 in the window, because the manager's already hinted that that's what he expects as well. So we get to that window, and you know, if we're in a decent position by Christmas, in and around it, then you know, that's all we can ask for. Yeah,
it's been a good start. We'll have to see.
But 2 points off the top, so it's been a good start.
It's been a good start. We'll have to see how it continues. But I do think that I think what's important is there's a belief. I think, you know, fans are looking at it, and then I don't think anyone's getting too excited. But I think people are looking at it thinking, well, I think we're in a safe pair of hands, because it's not been it's not like last season. The way we started last season was all, you know, noise and goals and catching people cold and all the rest of it. But there was definitely a soft underbelly there. Whereas in this season, I think you can see tactically already that there's a little bit more.
There's a structure
going on,
isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that I've taken just before we finish is that I can actually see an Everton team in there, and I can actually see what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Whereas, let's be honest, for the last few years, we have kind of all bemoaned. What are we? What do we do? Where's the plan? What is the thing?
Yeah, good performance, bad performance, whatever. You've seen at a Villa, we were playing in a way, we were doing all right. And then it just unravelled. And I think so far in every game, you've seen us play a certain way. And you've seen us go behind and come back or whatever. But we've played a certain way, and people are doing their jobs. And I think that's the most important thing so far. No, it's not.
Should people be a bit more excited thinking you're dropping Dom and Richie back into this side? But that is done. Because I think we've got.
Yeah, of course.
I think we've got better and better each week.
Of course. I think you add Dom into it, and suddenly the team has a lot more going for it. It has someone up front who knows how to deal with defenders and knows how to bring midfielders into the game if you put the ball over the top to him. Someone who can really work them in tow with Richarlison as well. I think if you put those two in the team off what the team's done in the last month, I think there's belief. The team believes in itself. Going 1-0 down at Old Trafford. You see Ronaldo coming on, you just probably, we've got to, obviously we said this after the Villa game, get away from that where you go behind and suddenly
it's over.
You get another one very quickly. You've got to stay in games. I think at Old Trafford showed a lot of people that there is a determination about this team. You add those extra quality players into the side, then it's got to be there. It's got to be there every game. It's a mental battle as much as a physical battle. It's got to be there. You've got to be able to do it every single game. But I think we've got the right manager for that, though. Just someone who's... I don't think there's too much drama about him. I think it's other people who want to maybe create the drama about him because who he's managed and all the rest of it. I don't think there's any drama. I think it's business. I think it's work. I think all the other stuff will come, but I think that's the most important thing.
Players seem to be buying into it.
Exactly, that's all you can ask for.
Ultimately, that's the most important.
That's all you can ask for.
They play the game.
That means that they go, yeah, this might work, or this is working, or I can do this, because this fella understands. And we've seen that so far with Townsend and Damari Kay. So let's just hope it continues. It's been a solid start, and let's just hope it continues, and we keep battling away, getting wins, and listen. Every game this season we've been in. Yeah. So
that's all you can ask.
That's all you can ask. So let us know your thoughts anyway on the season so far. Are you give us a score out of 10 where we are so far this season. Let us know. We both think it's been quite positive so far, but let us know. Obviously, going out the League Cup, that was disappointing, but that was one of those things.
Out of 10?
7.
7.
Solid 7.
So far.
Yeah. So let us know your thoughts. What have you been impressed with? Or have you not been impressed with it so far? I think it's just been an easy run of games, and it'll look,
Yeah, but when we've had the easy run of games before, it hasn't mattered.
So let us know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you want more great videos, daily live videos. Join us over on Patreon. Thanks for watching. See you later.